Well, happy Thursday to you. It's 2:30 after a 5.5 hour drive. I'm over for the first time on Dartmoor, parked in Belstone car park, which is quite a nice shady car park, not very far from the moors at all. It's a very quaint and picturesque village, but as it is everywhere, there's a lot of work going on, updating the houses. It's a bit noisy in parts. And before we know it, out onto the moors itself. My route today is around 12 miles in total, but at a very leisurely pace over probably 2 days. I'm going to head up here, which is Belstone Tor, and then do a variety of tours and the local high point, and then sleep tonight somewhere around Tarptent Wild Tor, somewhere like that. Haven't entirely decided yet. I'm going to play it by ear. The moors are somewhat notorious for being quite damp and marshy, but because it's so warm, I've gone with walking shoes rather than my boots. So I hope I don't get caught out. As you can probably hear, somewhat out of breath already. Rucksack, haven't weighed it. Must be getting on for 20 kilos with the camera gear too. It's a bit of an unusual experience this. Of course, because I'm on Dartmoor in one of the permissive camping areas, this is a permissive camp. So it's not often, well never in fact, I've actually walked somewhere where I'm allowed to camp. It's always been pucker wild camping. And this one is sort of semi-wild, because I know that I'm not going to get moved on unless I do anything daft. Well, it's a really lovely day, but by golly it's warm to be walking up these hills, but shouldn't complain. At least it's not raining, and there's a cooling breeze too. Wonderful. Well, I think this is probably my first ever tour, being it's my first time on Dartmoor. I think this one is Belstone. Oh, I thought I'd have a quick sit down, have a drink. Already climbed a fair distance. See down to the village down the bottom there. Most of the climbing is in the first part of the walk. At least get it over and done with. But I'm amazed that I heard Dartmoor was really busy. I saw 4 dog walkers right at the start of the walk. Since I've actually been in the park here, I haven't seen another solitary soul, just a sheep. Really nice. Right, onwards and upwards. Just going to take my rucksack off for a moment and have a climb up on the Tor. Woo! Quite breezy up here. But what a view! You can see virtually my entire route, or probably can see my entire route from here. From Belstone's down there, up to here, along to Oke Tor and Tarptent Tor, then the other Hound Tor and Wild Tor, and then Hangingstone Hill, I think it is, and then back down through the wood into the village. 2 days up here. Spend my time, decide where I'm going to go. And I presume the high point over there might be High Willows, which is the highest point in the northern moors. Beautiful though, beautiful and desolate. How dainty I am. After Belstone Tor, we come to this, which is Irishman's Wall. I have no idea, not the foggiest idea, where the name of it comes from, but it's definitely the remnants of a wall. So this one here is High Tor. She's actually quite a high Tor. Not like the previous one that was a bit spread out. This is all in one place. Up ahead of me there, the next Tor is Oke Tor, which is one of my camping options. Oke Tor's the nearest one. Between it and Steeperton Tor, there's a gorge with a river at the bottom, which I'm reliably informed online was running quite profusely a week ago, so there should be water available there. Whether I go with Oke Tor or Steeperton Tor, I'll have plenty of water for tonight. Because I knew there was going to be water up here, I've only brought 2 litres with me, which is less than I need for 2 days, but I can cope with it that much for one day, even with the warmth today. I'm just coming up on a row of white and red striped posts, which I believe is the boundary of the military's Okehampton firing range. So over to my right, the area I'm going into now is part of the MOD land, and a bit on the left is the park. Now, I have checked online twice this week and there's no firing planned for Okehampton this whole weekend. Did amuse me actually reading the MOD's website. They said your safety is our #1 priority, which is rather an odd priority for the army, whose sole purpose is to kill people. Obviously kill people in our defence. Defend us, yes, not to kill people. But it's still rather an odd thing to say. This is Oke Tor. Very blowy up here. It's 466 metres. Time's getting on now, it's getting on towards 5 o'clock. Steeperton's up there, and I'm quite weary, so I'm going to have a scout around Oke Tor and see if there's anywhere appropriate to pitch up. Obviously it's still a bit early, so I won't be yet, but once I've found a spot, plop myself down, have a drink and have a contemplate. There's a tent. Strange, this is where I don't really understand coming somewhere that's permissive. Up at Oke Tor there must be, I think, 3, 4, possibly as many as 5 bivvy campers secreted in little crevices in the rocks. Look like they're asleep just with their feet poking out, plus a tent and a tarp. It's about 5 o'clock in the evening. Surprised they've pitched up already. I've come to the far end of the Tor because there's so many people up there. I'm now contemplating my options. One option is here, right at the southern end of the Tor. A nice little flat area, views back down along the valley and across to the other side. Get the sunset over that way. Don't think I'm going to see the sunrise unless I'm up very, very early. The only downside here is that it's quite breezy. The other option is to drop down to the lower level there. Nice flat grazed area there, right next to the path though, but it is really quite sheltered from the wind. The other option is to drop down on the far side here, on the leeward side of these rocks. So, you know, this down here is really quite nice. Don't get the same views, but very sheltered. Nice down here, but Haven't got the views. I think I'd rather have the wind but still have the views. Well, I pitched up here at Oke Tor. There's quite a few other campers here already. They were here quite early when I arrived. I've got a pitch at the southern end. Nice view over to the west for the sunset, and a view to the east for the sunrise if I'm up for it, because it'd be quite early. And after reading a lot of things online about trying to keep all of your electronics charged, I bought myself a solar panel, which is there. Got it from Amazon. It's only about £30, so it's a similar sort of price to a power bank. It's a 20-watt charger, although I've been doing some trials with it, and in hazy sunshine you're lucky if you can get 10 watts, and that's with it pointing directly at the sun, which isn't always practical. So with it laying on a rock like this, you only get about 5 watts. But it's still something. At the moment it's charging my GoPro. What I've also done is, because the GoPro audio is so absolutely atrocious, as is the Insta360. Insta360 though, I've got these Synco wireless microphones for it, which work really well. But for the GoPro, I've bought myself a Dahl V-Mic 4. So it's just really shotgun mic, which is specifically for things like mobile phones and vlogging setups. So we'll see what the audio from that sounds like. It is lovely and quiet out here though. There's hardly even any birds. I can hear a road in the distance. I can't see any cars though, so I'm not sure where that's coming from. The other thing that I mentioned that I bought is the Amazon cheap solar panel. Now, after reading up a lot on it and people saying, oh, get solar panels, they're really good, I can't really think it's actually going to be that great. It's a 20-watt panel, but of course you don't get 20 watts of sunshine all day unless you're really pointing it straight at the sun midsummer. So doing some calculations, it sounds like you're going to get about 30,000 milliamp hours of capacity out of it over about a week. So 8 hours of sunshine a day with it strapped to your backpack, you should be able to charge about 30,000 milliamp hours a week. Now 30,000 milliamp hours weighs about 400 grams in terms of a battery pack, and the solar panel weighs about 400 grams. So you're probably much better off taking a battery pack with you than you are taking a solar panel and trying to charge things, at least in the UK. Having said that, I've been here a couple of hours now and it has recharged both of my cordless mics. It's recharged the GoPro by about 20%, and now it's charging the Insta360. So it's of value, but I don't think it's as valuable as the same weight as a battery pack. You can guarantee a battery pack will work, you can't guarantee solar will work, and until you've been out for a week you won't have actually offset the weight of the battery of the solar panel. I just walked down from my pitch, see if I can find any water, but that's not too bad. It's flowing, that'll do me. Haven't used this water filter since Wales. Give that a quick flush through first. And stick it into my water bladder. There we go. Litre-and-a-half plus water filtered. Got my water Time's getting on now, so I think I'm going to put my dinner on. I've got a fire pot spicy pork noodles. And beer wise this evening, because I thought it was quite appropriate to being up on a tour, I've got Buxton Brewery Axe Edge IPA. I'll try something different rather than the normal Brewdogs. 6.8% though. It's definitely not a session IPA. As you can see, it's still quite breezy up here. The wind was supposed to abate around 6 o'clock, it's now coming up at 7. Still quite breezy. Not as breezy, but more gusty. It's come round a little bit. But... Cheers. That's a nice beer. Very Moorish. For the stove this evening, I've gone with the Outkit Coro titanium stove, and I've bought some new titanium pots. These are Zestrugi. They're from Planet X. They're really good value titanium. Don't like titanium very much because it doesn't conduct the heat very well and you get a real hot spot ring. It's okay if you're boiling water, but as soon as you try to cook anything in it, you just get a burnt ring, which I'm not too keen on. But for boiling water, it's nice and lightweight. I can carry both parts of the pot, the lid as well as the base, for the same weight as an aluminium pot. Do you know, this permission camping malarkey, I really could get used to this. Particularly in the summer, when you actually only have about 5 hours, 6 hours of darkness. Trying to pitch up somewhere at dusk and then break camp as close to dawn as you can. You don't get the time to enjoy the camp. Over here, because it's permissive, you can pitch up early and break camp late. And although there are a lot more people here, it is so lovely to be able to spend time at the camp and enjoy it, enjoy the outdoors. Look at the rocks, climb the rocks, look at the grass, look at the sheep trying to find their mothers. There is a lot to be said for this. I can see me taking the 5.5 hour journey back down to Dartmoor again. Or of course going back to the lesser used parts of Wales where you don't see anybody anyway. Well, I made my breakfast, and even though it tells you not to, I'm going to use the water to make my tea with as well. These granite blocks are surprisingly comfy actually. Quite pleasant really. Debag my tea. I'll go in my rubbish bag in a moment. Doesn't taste too tainted. Well, my pouch is a Wayfarer's breakfast. I did wash it in soapy water before I came out though, because I knew that I didn't want to throw the water away. Feeling much fresher now. So the change of clothes, which always makes you feel so much cleaner. Right, let's tuck into my breakfast. Nice bit of sausage on a tour, can't beat that. I don't often bother with breakfast because I want to be off and out fairly early. It's quite pleasant just to sit here in the sunshine, have some breakfast. So here's my spot from last night. Leave no trace, as always. All my rubbish packed up with me, along with all my gear. Counted the pegs in, counted the pegs out. Didn't even move all the poo this time. Right, so I'm going to head down off of this tour, up that way, towards Hangingstone Hill. Sharing the path here with the sheep. Isn't this lovely? Just coming up on another tour now. This is Wild Tor. I went up to the top of Hangingstone Hill, and unfortunately the army were up there. They'd set up some sort of little station. It looked like some sort of transmitting station. So I didn't stop up there. Not that there's very much up there anyway. And I've come back down a little to Wild Tor. I think I may stop, have some lunch here. There should be a water source not too far beyond this. And then decide where I'm stopping for tonight. Oh, it's nice to be on the leeward side of it, out of that relentless wind that I've had all the way from Oke Tor up to Hangingstone Hill. All the way, just had the wind first in my back and then in my face. Oh, so this is Wild Tor. Nice little area, actually just here. Sheltered from the wind, right up on the top of the Tor. That might do me. The question is whether I stay here or carry on for tonight. Just walk down the hill without my backpack, come down, get some water. Lovely little pool here. Nowhere near deep enough to have a dip in though. Little tiny waterfall. Very nice. Sit on here, catch the water as it goes past. Found a sheltered flat spot just down here to do my cooking. Do myself some lunch. Make myself a hot drink, cup of tea, with the water from the meal. I love titanium when it gets hot. You get that beautiful chroming of it. Really quite a nice spot up here. Very quiet, I've not seen anybody else over on this side. Just got the drone out to give it a fly round and checked on drone assist. Discovered this area is a prohibited area, which I suppose is not really that surprising as it is all part of the MOD land. So I've put it away again. As I'm not too sure what really lies ahead of me, decided to stay and pitch up at my lunch spot, the Wild Tor. It's one of the tours I wanted to camp at in the first place. I'm cooking in a different spot this evening because the wind has come up quite a bit over the course of the day. I've put a tarp up over an opening to try and prevent the tent from being blown around too much. Forecast tonight does look like it's going to be 25 to 30 miles an hour, which is probably about borderline for the Tarptent Double Rainbow double wall that I've got, but I've pitched it right in a nook of the Tor, so I should be protected from the worst of it. Just a little bit swirly here, and down where I cooked earlier it's still quite blowy, so I'm doing it underneath these rocks here. It's nice and quiet down here. So this evening I'm going with a fire pot, dal and rice with spinach. I'm also going to do myself a chocolate pudding, and I'm going to do a hot chocolate. I'm really craving chocolate at the moment. It's been another absolutely glorious day, hardly a cloud in the sky. Put sun cream on and it looks like I may have just burnt the inside of my legs. Hey ho. Saw a lovely, brilliant green butterfly earlier. Really small one. You think of this vast expanse and the winds up here. And a really small little butterfly. Could only have been between 1/2 and 3/4 of an inch across. And managed to get a photo of it. And it's a green hair streak. Not seen one of those before. I'm really surprised to see it up here. You'd expect it to be a dainty little thing down in people's gardens somewhere. There you go, it takes all sorts. Got the tent at the moment set up in stargazing mode. Obviously the sun's out, but the sun is a star, so maybe I'm allowed to do it. But did it for two reasons. First one is that it lets some air into the tent, so when I was sheltering in there from the sun earlier, I could still see out and I was getting a nice breeze through. But really clever way that the Tarptent Double Rainbow double wall can roll the fly back over to the top of it so you can see out. And it's really nice to look out at the surroundings, even if here it is mainly tor rocks, it's lumps of granite, but it's really nice to be able to do that. Yesterday I mentioned that I've got the new microphone for my GoPro, the DT Video Mic D4, and one of the really clever things about it is it's got an input as well as a microphone output. So what I can do is attach my wireless Synco G2 microphones to the Deity, and the GoPro will then record each of the two microphones on the different stereo channel. So you have left as the video mic and right as the cordless mic. That is actually really quite clever, and it means that I could capture ambient sounds and capture my voice when I'm in places like this. When I tried it on the Insta360, infuriatingly, the Insta360 won't actually capture stereo sound. It only captures what they call pseudo mono. So you can have two inputs, but it only actually records one of them. So when you've got the mic adapter on there, I can attach the Deity microphone to it and then attach the wireless to, but you only get the Deity output, which is really frustrating. Not the end of the world though, because you can't really attach that to a 360 camera, and it's always going to be in the field of view somewhere. Yeah, this chocolate pudding is really quite tasty. It reminds me
of school dinners, chocolate puddings. Really hitting the mark, mate. Needed something sweet. This will keep me going. I've got my hot chocolate after this as well. May well be OD on the chocolate. So, what do I think of Dartmoor? I really like it. Hasn't got quite the grandeur of Wales, but it's pretty close, and it's much closer than the southeast of England and the Downs. It's desolate in many parts, like Wales, and it's such a nice place to come to. A, because the car parks are free, and B, because it's permissive. So long as you stick to the permissive areas, there's very little chance, unless you do something daft, that you're going to get moved on. And it really makes camping a pleasure. Wild camping always seems to be a bit about the chase, a bit about the, oh, where am I going to go? Is anybody going to come over? And you don't get the same opportunity to enjoy it. I've been here since about 2 o'clock this afternoon. I've pitched up, I've laid in the sun, I've gone down to get some water. It's all just so civilised. So yeah, I do like Dartmoor, and I think I will be back. Well, good morning. Just after 8 on day 3, Saturday. My final day here on Dartmoor. Got my morning coffee. While this was brewing, just started packing up the inside of the tent. Last night was nowhere near as windy as it was forecast or had anticipated it being. The wind abated by about 9 o'clock and didn't come up until about 6 o'clock this morning, which is really pleasing because it meant I had a very restful night's sleep. Need to finish up my coffee and then finish up packing away and get off. Right, just before 9 o'clock and I'm off now. This is my spot. Leave no trace. Counting my pegs in, counting my pegs out. Got my double bagged bag of rubbish with me, and the rucksack's a lot lighter today. So let's be off. Got about a 6-mile hike back, and then a 240-mile drive back, and then hopefully a much deserved shower. Oh, goodbye Wild Tor. It's been nice knowing you. Over there is Whitehouse Tor. And interestingly, last night I was watching Summit or Nothing video with Nath, and they went over to Whitehouse Tor on a really cold day, and it looks like 2 stacks of pancakes. Not a particularly big tour though. I think Wild is probably the better camping tour of the 3 in this area. I'm now going to head up to Hangingstone Hill in front of me there, then to the high point of Hangingstone Hill, and then it's downhill all the way back to the car park. I have to say, when wild camping, when you're going for a few nights, although it adds weight to your pack, you really can't beat getting up in the morning and having a change of clothes. Does make you feel so much fresher and ready for the new day, and quite civilised really. It's like cleaning your teeth, one of those things that when you do it you feel far more human. Just coming up on my first stone circle of this walk. There's quite a few of them on this part of the moors, but they've all so far been off of the main path. I've not diverted to them. And this one's only 100 metres or so off of the path, ring of what, about 20, I guess. Upturned stones, all set in the ground. Wonder whether anybody's been sacrificed in the middle here, just about here. Oh, interesting. Think how long ago these were placed here. They're still standing. Can't help but think a lot of things from the 20th century and the 21st century won't be here in another 2,000 years. Apart from plastic, I suppose. That may well be. Got some inquisitive ladies on the path up ahead. Hello, beautiful. Got a bit of mud on you there. So this is Hangingstone Hill, 550 metres of elevation. So one of the high points around here, and the point that's got a trig point. And by the look of it, a couple of stone cairns. There's a trig with some paper stuff down inside it. You can now see down into the valley where the car's parked. Should have not too far to go now, about 2.5 miles. Just up here, walking down the north side of Hangingstone Hill, and I saw a squirrel. Now, there are hardly any trees up here at all. I don't know what it lives in and what it forages for, but I wouldn't mind betting it's a couple of miles to the nearest tree. One of the peculiar bits of wildlife that you see on these walks in the wilds. Well, this is a bit of a change. After being up on the bleak moors, there's a lot of scrubland down here, a lot of trees, some proper tracks, and still some hills. It's quite nice to do a walk that encompasses a variety of different terrains and different surroundings. Not too far to go now, another 10 minutes most should see me back at the car, then to start the drive back. I have to say thank you to Dartmoor for a really lovely 3 days, not eventful at all, which is always good news, and 2 really good pitches. Plenty of water sources as well, which was very good to see. It meant it didn't have to take too much, just carrying 2 litres or so at a time. Unless anything happens in the last 10 minutes, I'll bid you farewell from Dartmoor this beautiful weekend, and hopefully I will be back here again before too long. So, farewell and happy camping to you all.